All right. Today we're going to talk about buyers. And so if you're an owner, hope this is a little good education for you. Or if you're just curious about M&A, let's dive in. There's four types of buyers. The first group is strategics. The second group, private equity. Third, family offices. And fourth, entrepreneurs. We call them searchers. So let me explain what a strategic buyer is. Simply put, it's just a bigger company than who you are, right? If you're a plumbing company or a roofing company, it's just a bigger company than you. And why they're most attractive, honestly, if you're an owner, it's continuity. You know that they understand your business, that they're not going to come in and fire all your people. They understand the value of the culture. That's why this typically works 80% of the time. That's who you typically sell to. Your people are typically taken care of, your culture is kept intact, and that they are hopefully going to keep this business the way it is for as long as possible and not sell it. Private equity. Now, I know what you're thinking. They're not all bad. There's 5,500 in the US, but they have different incentives. They typically want to buy the company and obviously grow the value of the business. Sometimes there's superfluous cost or cost that they see not valued to the business, and so they cut those costs. But they oftentimes need to sell that company in 3 to 5 years. And so, of course, if you're an owner, that's a concern, right? Am I going to lose some of my people? What happens in 5 years? And that totally makes sense. I can understand the concern, but heck, they can pay a ton of money. And if it's aligned with your goals and your family's future, then that can work. Right. But again, they're not all bad. Buyer number three, family offices. This is a new buyer. In the last 20 years, they've really, I mean, let's be honest, it's America. Tons of families have come into a lot of wealth. Typically, they've sold their businesses. Baby boomers have gotten older. Um, Companies have passed on. They've made either money by selling their company or they've built an incredible business where they're generating a lot of cash and they know about business. So they're like, well, let's go buy some other cash flowing businesses. Why do people like them? One, you have access to their network, so that might be able to grow the value of the business. They understand business because they've operated them, and they're patient capital. They're people who don't typically want to sell the company because they're buying cash flow. They hope to operate and grow the business for the long term. The fourth type of buyer is the searcher, the entrepreneur, or typically partners. Someone serves the role as a CEO, someone may serve the role as the COO or CFO, and they want to leave corporate America typically and go buy a business that's cash flowing because they don't have an idea, but they want to go buy a business that is generating cash that they want to operate and grow. Now, all of these buyers are great for different reasons for what is best for you. I think what's important to also understand about these four buyer types is who can pay the most money. 80% of all businesses are sold to strategics. Continuity, and because they always can pay the most money. Why? Synergies. I'm going to give you an example of what is a synergy. Let's say you own a structural steel company, right? And you're a subcontractor who does structural steel and you buy steel all the time. Well, a bigger structural steel company comes along and wants to buy you. They buy so much steel that, like the Costco mile, the more you buy, you can buy steel cheaper. And so when they buy you today, they immediately realize more value than someone who doesn't own a structural steel company. So private equity and family office can kind of pay the same amount. Typically, private equity will pay a little bit more. And so, owners, if your main driver is the liquidity and the money, you probably go with that route. But if you can take a little bit less, a family office is a great option because, again, continuity is maybe a little bit more important. The fourth buyer, those searchers, they can never pay as much as the other three. They don't have the experience, they can't get the best terms on debt. And often, the people that choose them, it's because you just believe in this entrepreneur. You see something in them like you were when you started this business and you've made your money. I'm going to bet on this person because they're the best for my company and its future. And that's why they go with them. And that's the four buyers: strategics, private equity, family offices, and searchers or entrepreneurs. If you want to know any more, hit the comments, let me know. I'm happy to answer.